as far as we'll ever go. I thought we established that from the beginning, she said. Nate was offended by the way she was talking to him, but he stayed cool. The sex they had was great, and the last thing he wanted to do was end it. We did establish that from the beginning, and you know what? That's my fault, Nate said, lying back down in the bed. Are you sure? Because if you can't handle what we got going on, just let me know, Lisa spoke. Nah, we good. Just lock the bottom lock on your way out, he said, before grabbing the remote control off the nightstand and turning the TV on. Lisa turned back around, finishing getting dressed, got up, and left without even saying goodbye. This was how she wanted it to be. No relationships, no cares, no worries, no stress, and most importantly, no love. She didn't want or desire these things from a man right now, and given what she'd been through, Lisa may not ever want to open up to anybody again. That's just the way she felt, and she found that it was easier being the way she was. The sun was shining bright, and there had to be at least 20 kids outside running around on the small street. Tammy sat on her steps between Darius's legs, smoking a blunt, and periodically yelling at Anthony, who was playing a little too rough with the other kids. "Anthony, get your behind out of that street!" Tammy yelled, seeing a car turning down the street. The car crept down the street slowly, and all of the kids stopped and watched the spaceship of a car pass by. The all-white 2013 Bentley Continental GT slowed down, but didn't come to a complete stop as the kids had hoped. It simply drove down the street and made a right at the corner. Everyone was so focused on the car passing by that nobody paid attention to the man walking up the street from the opposite direction. Darius was the first person to turn around and see him. The hateful look in the man's eyes prompted Darius to pull the compact .45 from his waist and set it on his lap. He was still doing his thing from time to time, and he had been robbed before, so this time he wasn't taking any chances. It was about to be a shoot first, ask questions last type of situation. "You know him?" Darius asked, nudging Tammy to get her attention. "Do you?" he asked again, clutching the gun a little tighter and taking the safety off. Tammy finally turned around, and it was right in the nick of time because Darius was ready to fire his weapon. It was like Tammy had seen a ghost, the way she jumped up from between Darius's legs. For a moment she couldn't believe the father of her kids was standing right before her. "Chris?" she asked in shock, curious as to when and how he got out of prison this early. She'd heard the rumors, but she didn't think they had much truth to them. She definitely wasn't aware that the new crack laws had gotten him released way before his time was up. "I see you got yourself a little wannabe thug," Chris said, not fazed at all by the gun Darius had sitting on his lap. "These are the kind of niggas you got around my kids?" he asked, giving Tammy a look that would have killed her if she hadn't put her head down. "I've been gone for 4 years, and you said you was trying to better your life, and this is the best you could come up with? Wow. And you smoking weed now?" Chris spoke quickly, firing verbal shots at both Tammy and Darius like a machine gun. "You must have lost your mind questioning me," Tammy wanted to scream, but her mouth wouldn't move. Chris looked over and gave Darius a hard stare. He wasn't a threat in Chris's eyes. And if he knew who he was pulling a gun out on, Darius would have never done it. Chris was a killer for real. Plus, he was a little crazy, and just about everybody knew it. Well, except for Darius. Tammy just sat there wanting to read Chris for the insult, but her heart was pounding so hard that she was sitting there with a dumb look on her face. Darius got mad at how humble and submissive she seemed to have become in Chris's presence. He started to say something, but decided against it, seeing little Anthony running down the street towards them. "Dad! Dad!" Anthony yelled, running up and throwing his arms around his dad. "You're home! You're home!" he yelled, holding Chris tightly. Chris embraced his son with loads of kisses to the top of his head. Tears started to fill his eyes, but he quickly got control, remembering that Darius was looking on. He had missed being able to hug and kiss his kids. The prison never let him have physical contact, and the emotion of being able to fully express his love for them was overwhelming. Anthony had grown up so fast in the past 4 years, and although the prison bars had separated them, Chris's kids still loved him as if he had never left. Tammy stood there, watching Chris and Anthony embrace. She could feel the emotion of their reunion, and all the love that she had suppressed for Chris seemed to pour out of her at rapid speeds. She had deep feelings for Darius, and even loved him very much. But the truth was, there wasn't anyone in the world she'd rather be with than Chris. The love they shared was different from any other. Also, Chris had the nerve to be standing there looking as good as ever. His hair was cut low, so his waves complemented his rich, flawless dark chocolate skin, and his beard was well groomed. She could smell the frankincense oil coming off his skin, and the prostration mark on the center of his head proved that he'd been praying for this.